I have to say the challenge of the great Neil Cassidy became sort of tremendous because I started to do research on this guy, and he is pretty profound in that he was the muse for some of the greatest artists of our our and future and past generations, for that matter. I mean, this guy inspired everyone from the Grateful Dead to Jack Kerouac to Ginsberg to just the list goes on and on and on. And I then realized what I was up against.
I'll get my ticket and say goodbye on a flower day and leave all San Francisco behind and go home across autumn America, and it'll all be like it was in the beginning.
They love each other, in a really profound way, but they struggle with commitment, and he certainly struggles with being in a family, which I think is something that she doesn't struggle with. So she just struggling with him.
Yeah, well, that's one thing I found so interesting is that, these guys, they didn't always, they behaved pretty badly a lot of the times, and they had women and friends that were loyal to them and willing to do anything for them, sort of no matter how.
I think they behaved selfishly. Mm-hmm. I think they were experimenting with what is bad and what is good, or just experimenting with morality in general. But people got hurt, and I think the story, Big Sur, explains that. I think Kerouac was self-aware enough to know that his choices were hurting people.
What do you think comes out in this film that hasn't been covered before?
I think it goes back to the question you were just asking too. The idea of the rock star lifestyle did not exist yet. And these were the original inventors of that, of the on-the-road generation were the first ones who were living truly carefree and living in a response to the 1950s and the war. And so what this movie then does is it talks about how that lifestyle and that whole choice can veer off into a level of loneliness and emptiness that they all then tried to grapple with in a very honest way. That particularly Kerouac was fearless in saying that it destroyed them. And I think that to me is unique because it's not on the road anymore. It's quite the opposite.
The end of the road.
Yeah, it's the end of the road.